In the previous video, we've created the search methods on our model class, and we are now able to filter our records the way we would like them to be fetched from a database. But one thing I said was that I'm not quite happy with this array here. All these items being listed on so many lines of code basically added to a single file. Okay, so what we're going to do in this video is to refactor this filters array. What I'm going to do is go to the search directory under our app directory and create the filter directory within it. So filter, and here I'm going to have first of all, I'm going to start with a filter contract. So we're going to start with a filter contract, and it's going to be within the app, then search, then filter namespace. Okay, and this is going to be an interface. We only going to declare what methods, public methods, any class that implements this contract should have. And there's going to be only one public static function called filter. Let's add the doc block here. And it's going to return filter, the database filter. Let's just say get filter. I think that's just exactly what it does. I think that's going to do just fine. Okay, and now that we've got a contract, let's create a few implementations. So we're going to start with the first one for our keyword. We're going to move this entire filter instantiation here to its own class. So let's give it a name because it's going to refer to the keyword field. Let's give it a name keyword. There we go. And this one will implement our filter contract. There we go. And now obviously we need to add this method, which is required by this contract. And what I'm going to do is go back to this search, cut this new filter associated with this keyword index, and return it from within this filter method. So return new filter, semicolon at the end. Let's now import all these classes. So like %both, concat and wrap, and concat all. Let's organize them a little bit better here. And that's our keyword filter done. So if we go back, now what we can do is run keyword, and then filter method on it. And that's just one line, as you can see now, rather than having these multiple lines. It's a little bit cleaner. We will get rid of all these concatenators here and statements later on once we've refactored all of them. So okay, so this is one for the keyword. Now for the category, another one. I'm going to cut all this here and create a new class called category. And this one will also implement filter contract. Let's add method stub for this filter. Let's paste this in. Obviously, make sure that you return this new filter, semicolon at the end, and let's import all these classes. And then concat, and there we go. So this one is now done as well. We can save and close it. Let's associate the category filter now with this category index. Let's import this class as well, and there we go. As you can see, instead of having so many lines here instantiating this entire filter class, we just call the given filter and then filter method, and that's basically returning exactly the same thing. Okay, for the author now, let's cut this one, filter author. Exactly same situation as before. Let's implement filter contract, add the method stub, and now simply return this new instance of the filter. Let's import these classes. And there we go. We will be able to use all these filters later on within our test as well. So it's going to be quite handy rather than, again, instantiating all of these filters manually. We just use this filter implementations. Okay, and again, author filter. Let's import this class as well. Now so filter year, again implements filter contract, add method stub, and for the implementation simply return this filter, semicolon at the end, import all these classes, and that's going to do. Now, next one, let's just actually filter, and let's import it as well here to this file. Then for the language, I'm going to have new filter language, implements filter contract, and we need this filter methods, all the same thing. So return new filter, import classes, there we go, save and close it. And now language, filter method, import all these classes. Now cover and location. So cover implements filter contract, method filter, return new filter, semicolon, import classes, save, close, and now cover filter method. And the last one is this location. So filter location implements filter contract, return, and import classes. Save, close, and now location, filter method call. And as you can see now, these multiple lines, we only have so many. It looks a little bit cleaner to me. And obviously later on, if you need to change any of the logic associated with any of these filters, you just go to a specific class and just amend it there. So now this looks better. I'm just going to close all these classes. This looks much better now, but I'm still not quite sure if I like the fact that I'm using array here directly within this file. Okay, so what I'm going to do, first of all, because we are all these filters here, this keyword category, are specifically for a given model. So if we go back here to one of these filters, you can see that we're actually referring to the specific table and then the field within this table. It's probably a good idea to separate them into its own directory. So book, for instance, was going to have all its own filters, so author, category, cover, keyword, language, location, and year. All of these belong to the book table, or book model in other words. And now we obviously need to update all these namespaces here, which is going to be filter book. And in that case, we need to import this filter contract. So import this class. Let's just shift it up here. Now let's move it actually right at the top, because it's not a filter, it's just a contract. Then for the category, the same thing. We add the namespace and then import this contract. Again, let's make it separate from all these. Cover, exactly same thing. And let's import filter contract. Then let's close the keyword. And the same thing. A language, same thing. Same thing for location. And yeah. Okay, so all that's done. Now, obviously, we need to update it here as well. This filter, I'm going to use a macro here in PHP Storm to select all these and prepend this book to it. So we've got now full namespace, including this book directory as well. Okay, so all that's fine. Now, another thing, I would probably want to have some filter manager to which I can add all these items, then get just keys rather than calling this array keys here directly, and then just pass the instance of it rather than array to this search method. Let's start by creating, we just close this book directory for now, and within the filter, let's create a new class called filter manager. And this specific class, what it's going to have is it will start with a private property called filters, and it's going to be a simple array which will store all these filters. Now, we could create just a constructor, instantiate it on a separate line, and then start using methods. But what I'm going to do here is just create a static method which will instantiate, return the new instance of itself, of this class basic. So public static function make, I'm going to call it, and it will return new static, which is basically new filter manager. So rather than doing something like, say, filter equals new filter manager, and then on a new line filter and so on, we are just going to use filter manager make, and this is going to return us the instance of this filter manager. Okay, let's add some doc block to this method. It returns itself, so it returns static get new instance of itself. Okay, so now that we have the method to instantiate ourselves without actually using this whole new and class name approach, we can create the new method called add, which will add new filter, first name of the filter, and then filter itself. We're going to type hinted here with a filter, and it's a filter. And there we go. To add it, we simply use this filters, name, and then the filter. And add method will return instance of itself, so we can chain it later on. So we can have multiple adds chained together. Name is going to be of a string type, and then add filter. Okay, after add, we're going to have a method that will get us the filter. So public function get name, and return this filter's name, which is going to be a string, and it will return filter because each of these filters is actually instance of a filter. So get filter by index. Next method will allow us to get all of the filters. So public function all, and here we simply return this filters, and this returns array get all filters. And the last method will get us just the keys, public function keys, return array keys, and then this filters. And again, doc block returns array get keys for the summary. And that's all within this class. Let's remove this redundant space here. Okay, so that's all. Let's go back to our search class. And now what we are going to do is basically create this new instance by doing filter equals filter manager make method. And we could change straight away from here using add method and so on. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually do this instantiation here this way. I'm going to import this filter manager. Let's just add it here to this filters block. So filter make, and now I'm going to do filter add, and we start with, I'm going to make it easier for myself, I'm going to convert all these associations, array association with the comma, and now I can just pass it to the add method. So it's name, the index name of the given field, and then the filter associated with it. And after this, straight away for another add. Let's just align them. And this one will be for the category. Next one will be add the one for the author. Another one, add for the year. Add language. Then we're going to add cover as well. Cover, add, last one is the location. Remove all this. There we go. And now we have this filter instance rather than array keys. Now what we're going to do is use this filter, and we have a method keys, which is going to give us the keys. And here we're just passing the filter, which is the instance of this filter manager. Now search method, if we click on that, go to the search method within the model, obviously at the moment it accepts array, so what we need to do is obviously update this method as well. So it's going to be taking filter manager this time, and let's rename it to filter. Let's update the doc blocks, remove the previous one. So we have search, filter manager, and returns itself. And now here, rather than having filters and key, what we're going to do is use this filter, get, and then key. And that should work just fine. So let's just check again. So here we're instantiating this filter manager. We could actually just do really new filter manager. That would work exactly the same, obviously, way in this scenario, because we're really doing this on a new line anyway. But if you wanted to change straight away from after this make method, you could do it this way, basically doing something like this. Actually, let's just remove this and just do it like this. We could do it this way as well, rather than having this filter and a new line. And actually, let's keep it this way. I think this is looking a little bit better. Okay, so let's test if it's working. Actually, let's go back to the browser, refresh the page. Everything seems to be fine. Let's try just soft covers, and there we go. We've got 2 books. Let's just books in Portsmouth. There we go. There are no books. London. There are 2 books in London, and so on. So as you can see, everything is still working exactly the same way as before, but it just doesn't hurt my eyes so much, to be honest. And obviously it's using the proper object-oriented approach rather than just using array functions and so on. Okay, I think that's it for this video. Our refactoring has been done. In the next video, we are going to write the test for our search method.